Oh,
I think
you're more impressive. I told someone else to steal your idea. I told them I was like, this kind lady already went on Amazon, found the perfect kit, and already mailed it out to people. And I totally told people like copycat her for days. Copycat her. I hear a voice. I heard my name. I don't see a face. There it is.
Sorry, I like hopped off camera by accident.
He will be joining us at the end because if he sees me now, he's not going to want to let mommy go. So
Isn't that the truth? I messed up. My 3-year-old's already seen me, so I'm in trouble.
My only issue is like, do rich people don't believe in shades? Because there are no shades. You're just window. I'm just like,
No, they do. It's a thing. I totally like when I moved down to like Virginia and North Carolina, curtains everywhere because they're obsessed. So it's like the opposite land down here. But then you go like and up here, all these new apartments and all the condos. I could literally watch somebody like it's an episode of You on Netflix.
How are y'all doing? Ooh, just a little closer.
We're doing. Rose, I love how you have an easel. You came prepared, Rosie.
Listen, painting is one of my favorite hobbies. When I saw this pop up, I was like, I need to do it. And then when food was involved, I'm like, listen, you guys are just speaking to my like soul right now.
And this has to be in honor of the first snowfall in Boston / Massachusetts. So when I took my walk today, I was like, all right, it's officially winter. Snow.
But it wasn't enough to build a snowman, so I don't count it.
Okay, so Christina, do you want to wait, we should first do introductions. I'm like, I know everyone here. But before we get started, do you want to just like popcorn, like name, where you're calling from, the year you did the core, and like your favorite winter activity? So I'm gonna let Shayna go first.
Hello. Again, I'm Shayna. TFA 2010. I currently teach at Tech, and I'm still teaching at the same site that I started at TFA. I love it. I love it. I teach Haitian newcomers, ESL, life at Tech Boston Academy. And my favorite winter, see, I'm a winter baby, so I'm used to this. Honestly, my favorite winter thing is I love the holiday season. It's hot chocolate, watching holiday movies, like just enjoying it, or just watching the snowfall. I enjoy that, but the hot chocolate has to be in the mix. Did I miss anything? Okay.
Just popcorn it to someone.
Rosie?
Which Rosie?
Yeah, which one?
IE or Y?
IE.
Okay. So I'm Rosie. I did the core in 2013. I mentioned earlier I used to teach older kids, but now I'm teaching 3rd grade. Although currently I'm on maternity leave because I just had a baby 4 months ago. So I'm really riding out that maternity time. And my favorite winter activity is making cookies with my nieces. It's a tradition we do every year, and we're actually going to do it next week. So I'm really excited. And I'll hand it off to the other Rosie.
Yay. Okay. So I did the core in 2016. I actually started at Roxbury Prep in Boston, but now I'm actually at Revere and has been there ever since 2017, 2018. So let's see, my favorite winter activity. I think I had the same thing as Shayna. So I was like, okay, I have to think of something different now. I really enjoy actually watching the snowfall indoors while drinking like hot tea or something, and not having to shovel is a huge plus. If there's someone else shoveling, then that's like, ooh, my day's perfect. Rosie, do you want a popcorn? Yeah. Okay, Nicole, go for it.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm Nicole LeConte. Now, well, actually, technically now I'm Nicole Bailey because I just got married in early November. I'm still getting used to my new last name. And I did the core in 2011 in Rhode Island. And then I taught at Match Community Day for a couple of years. And now in August, I just started working on TFA Massachusetts staff as the director of alumni engagement. And one of my favorite parts of this role is just getting to build community with you all. And I'm really excited to be here. And I think I would have to say my favorite winter activity is just taking a walk in the snow. Like, I love it. Like, there's something magic about it. As corny as it sounds, because I'm super corny. And I'm going to popcorn to Mr. Hamilton, AKA Jermaine.
Sorry, I didn't even realize I was definitely the only one with my teacher title on the screen. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jermaine. I'm going to change that in a second. Part of TFA 2014. I taught at Lawrence for like 3 years, and now I'm at Excel Academy. I am the Dean of the Rose program, which is our special education sub-separate program over there. And favorite winter activity? Winter is my second favorite season after fall. So I get really excited about those days during the winter where it's still kind of warm enough to start up a fire pit. Fire pit vibes are definitely my thing. This weekend is supposed to be pretty warm, so I'm gonna try to squeeze one of those in for sure. Did I get everything? All right, cool. I'm going to popcorn it to Ash.
Thanks, Jermaine. Ashley Porter. I did the core in 2013, Greater Boston with MJ. I started at Roxbury Prep and I was there for a long time. I'm a previous special ed director in Roseland. A previous special ed director. I transitioned out of schools, out of the classroom this August. I now work for DESE. And I hate winter. I'm born and raised in Boston. I hate winter. I hate all the things that you all said you love. So my favorite winter activity is booking a trip to somewhere warm. Yes, I was fortunate. We were all fortunate, I think, to work from home last winter. And so I booked a one-way to Puerto Rico and, stayed there for a couple of months. I'm hoping Joe shuts the country down again so I can be gone somewhere else. But yeah, getting on Google and picking a place on the map to go that is warm always is my favorite activity. I don't know if I missed anything. I'm sorry if I did. I will popcorn it to Denise next.
Do you need the prompt, Denise? Are you good?
What'd you say? Oh,
I know Denise popped in a bit late when we started. Did you need the prompt or are you okay?
Oh, I think I'm fine. I'm a 2010, I believe. It's been a while. And my name is Denise Wilkins and I teach at Tech Boston Academy. I'm in the SEI cluster and I teach science. And my favorite Christmas or winter activity is decorating my Christmas tree. I think I got everything right. Awesome. And I'm gonna popcorn it to anyone who has not gone yet.
Emily?
Last person?
I think that might be me. Good evening, everyone. Do you guys hear me okay? Okay, I'm like flustered. My dog is acting wreck. But my name is Emily Soto, and I did the core in 2017. Let's see, I started off at the Academy of the Pacific Rim in Hyde Park. I did that for like 4 years, and now I'm at the Dearborn STEM Academy. And I am the 11th and 12th grade ESL teacher for level 1s and 2Ls. I teach ELA and history there. And let's see, my favorite winter activity, I'm also not a winter person, but I do appreciate winter fashion. So I'm like a sweatsuit kind of girl. I have a hoodie on right now. I like my big jackets and puffer coats, and I just like to be cozy, I guess, and not sweating. So I appreciate the winter fashion. That's all.
Great. And I think Felix is our last one to go.
Sure, I'll bring it home. Can anyone hear me okay? Because my internet is super spotty. Like all of you have been froze on my screen for like the past 2 minutes. But I'm Felix. I have actually never taught, but I've been on staff at TFA for the past 5 years. My favorite winter activity. Well, up until Ash, I was like, dang, like I feel like I usually in group calls, I'm the only one who's like, yay, winter. But I was like, but so many people love winter on this call. I think to throw something new in here, I'll say ice skating. Yeah, especially at the Boston Common. Very pretty. MJ, you said you're gonna go, right?
Yeah. We'll kick us out. I'll wrap us up, and then Christine, I'd love you to share like what your favorite winter holiday is and tell us where you're calling from, and then you can get us started. But many of you guys already know me, Mariel Jane. I also go by MJ, 2013 homegrown alum, taught in Lawrence. I work on staff as the director of alumni engagement. My favorite winter activity is like my year-round favorite activity, which is knitting or crocheting and or reading. So I'll probably start knitting since I don't have the materials, but I'm an old lady at Spirit. So yeah, I'm gonna be knitting or crocheting my Coachella outfit next year. It's gonna be fashion. It's gonna be great. Christina, I'll kick it up to you. Tell us the things.
And again, my name's Christina, so you definitely could just call me that or just C, whichever one's easier. I'm all set, ready to paint. And if you've never done a paint night, as someone else already made a comment about, it's about just having fun. No one here has to be like a pro artist. They're just about having a moment to catch up with everybody here in the group, do your best, and we'll definitely have some fun looking at everything at the very end. So you definitely don't have to like flip your canvas around or anything like that while you're painting, that way we don't knock over wine or coffee or tea on anybody's laps. So, just leave them stationary, and probably at the end, we'll probably do a spin around so you can check out everyone's pieces. I'm here for help if you need it, but I'm certain you won't. They picked a snowman with catching a snowflake, so I'm absolutely jazzed to do it. So if you're hoping for snow like most of us here seem to be, this is the perfect piece to do it. I don't know if you'll gift it to somebody, but you can always put it in the laundry robe, the bathrobe. There's some place in your house that doesn't have Christmas or winter decorations yet, so we will ace them up with some color if so. I'm going to do every step right behind me, so that way even when I'm done, that doesn't mean you have to. So I usually just give a step, and what people do is I pause, and so there's usually like 5 to 10 minutes between every step, so I won't jump again. And if you want to know where I left off, you can just look right behind me, because I'm not going to really move this campus from this spot. So you can definitely take your time. You don't have to be faster or slower than anybody else. If you have wine or you're finishing a meal, that's the other reason why, so that way you can take your time, kick your feet up. If you're super fast, that's exactly what you get to do. Just lean back, hit the chat, catch up with everybody in between. We're kind of hoping to stop sometime around 7:30, so we got some time. It's only 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started with the very first step, which I promise you is super easy. And I'm glad I'm in a group full of teachers, so I don't feel like I got to explain that part too much. I know she sent everyone a kit, by the way, so I definitely try to match your setup so I don't give any suggestions outside of what you have. So I'm probably going to just be always holding up what brush I have, which is this one. Also, while I'm talking, if the volume doesn't sound right to you, because I know everyone's internet connections and things, definitely adjust. And if it's on my side, just always let me know in the comments so I can fix things for you too. The first brush I'm going to use is going to be this big brush. And so just so you guys get used to my habit, I'm going to be doing that all night, just holding up what I have in my hand. I'm just using water, and then you guys all have the same colored paints. We go and do a little bit of mixing, but not too much. But if you definitely have any artistic talent and you want to add some extra flair, you don't need to ask permission. Add, change anything you want in your painting. We're not grading anything at the end of this class. So, feel relaxed. Definitely feel free to like change something or omit something if you don't feel comfortable doing it. And if anyone doesn't have any questions for me or the host, if you're missing anything, let us know. Or if you're just watching us, that's fine too. So definitely I saw some people in here just watching us, but if you're painting, I'm going to be using this big brush real quick. And I'm just gonna get started here on this big canvas. So I'm gonna be blipping in and out, by the way, from gallery mode and spotlight mode. So that way we can see each other at times. And then sometimes just so everyone can see my canvas, I'm going to have it blown up like this so you can see it. If you are not able to see the spotlight, you can, depending on what device you are, actually find my name inside of the list. If you click on me, you can actually blow up a certain person so you can see closely the screen. So if anytime you can't see me and I'm talking and you're looking for me, definitely click on that because I'll be faster before I figure out any technological glitches.
I think you're perfect.
Let's see. Well, like I was gonna do is just go ahead and just draft in the background, as I call it, just so you guys know where everything's at. So that way it's like if someone sees me in the top right or the bottom, you know where everything is. And if you haven't seen the painting, that's good. So you don't have any high expectations or ruin your artistic moment if you feel like changing something. So definitely, I'm gonna lead up here, and it's just like handwriting. I expect you to have a little bit of your style added to each and every last one of your paintings. That's what makes it fun to look at them at the very end. So definitely, I hope everyone's relaxed, no pressure, and we're just gonna have fun painting. So the very first thing I'm gonna do, that way I have a very easy step so everybody can give us a thumbs up that they nailed this first one. I'm gonna do a circle for his head and just trace out his body. So like the carrot of his nose and everything like that. So we can paint the background, but not paint necessarily where it's white where we're gonna put the snowman at. And again, I'm going to use my big brush only because we're about to paint the background and I'm not doing a complex shape. But if you feel more comfortable using a smaller brush when we're drawing in a circle, you can definitely use it, or even use a pencil or something first and you can trace over your own lines. All the methods.
What are we starting with?
I'm going to suggest the blue. However, I was going to mix, and here's my plate just so y'all can see that. What I would do is if you have white as well, I would lighten it. That blue looked a little bit dark to me. So the very first thing I would do is just get some water. If you're going to be mixing a color, get it a little bit wet. And I was going to add white. So you want to have a nice sky blue like this one. So just think of a nice blue sky with no clouds in it, and that's the color you're aiming for. So again, make sure that brush is wet so that way it glides kind of like melted butter when it hits your canvas. If it's a little dry, you might notice like little white dots and things like that popping up when you're painting. So just make sure it's damp, not dripping. You don't want like a waterfall or anything like that, but just a little bit of moisture so that way it looks like melted butter on a croissant, kind of moist. But you just want to put, like what I usually do is just put my thumb at the top of my canvas, and that looks like enough space to me. So, and again, just to hold my hand there for a minute, I'm just holding my thumb at the top of my paper. And so that's where I'm going to put my carrot nose, which that can just be a triangle. So that's my very first shape. I'm just going to put a carrot. And then usually if I can find the nose, I know how big I want to make the head. I showed my plate one more time for everybody so they saw the color I mixed. So that's how light it is. So when it comes out the bottle, it's a little bit deep, but a little bit of white ought to take it down a little bit. And then I just threw a triangle on there. And then for everybody else, I'm going to let you see the rest of the sketch, which I'm just going to put a circle up there. So, and I'm just going to go right here at the bottom of that triangle. And I'm just going to go ahead and give him a head. And I'm just doing a rough, and notice how rough that is. It's just going to be underneath the painting. So it's our understudy. So we're going to be painting on top of this. So that's why I'm not worried about, like, if I make a mistake, I'll just draw another line. Like, for example, if I wanted to make the nose bigger, I would simply just go underneath of it and you can just add to it. So don't worry about not being able to erase. This is our understudy, and everything I'm painting right now, I'm going to put another color over top of it. And this is going to be his head. So we're going to have like his face and his eyes, and then we're going to have all this space for snowflakes. And last but not least, you can't really see the rest of his body in this piece, but I am going to do half a circle right here at the bottom for some shoulders. So if you decide to put a scarf or buttons or a star or anything like that on him for decoration, there's going to be plenty of space here to do so.
I'm going to say it not because I'm into it, but because I have nieces. There's a whole 3-minute Olaf series of him reenacting different Disney movies, and he did like Lion King, and he did Mulan, and he did like a bunch of different ones. So I think it's on Netflix or Disney. I think it's
Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a bunch of them, and it was really funny. And they're really short.
I still think it was really funny in the second movie the most. He took the stage on that one. I was like, I don't know if little kids understood every joke he made, but I knew exactly what he was talking about. I was like, oh my. And as you can see, I'm going to give another really great hint. I always see my kids doing this, picking up the brush a lot, and then they always say they can see a lot of their brush strokes. So the trick is when you want texture, you do short brush strokes. When you want something to lay down perfectly smooth, you just want to lay your brush down and drag it. The longer the brush stroke, the less brush kind of like hairs and things like that you're going to see. If you pick up the brush with acrylic paint, it's usually going to reveal exactly where you stopped. So what I usually say is like, put your brush down, pick a point, and then just drag your brush until you finish a section, and then you're going to get the most smooth looking paint. And so you're just going to let it glide very gently against your canvas. And of course, if you want the noise and the texture and all that and make it look like a snowstorm's about to hit this scene, then you can definitely do short brush strokes and you'll get the absolute opposite.
Can I just say this is so soothing?
Oh, good.
I want to paint snow every day.
Well, if you can't get it outside of your windows, even though I did have some friends who they were in Canada, so they did have snow in the background. And I was like, I'm about to turn your camera off on you guys. But, if you don't got snow out there, I'm going to put it in here. But I have to say, you guys are some good teachers here. At least you guys are doing such soothing things. And, next you guys have to have spa night, right? There you go.
I mean, like, if it were in the budget.
Tell them
if it were in the budget.
Make that happen. Can we go on retreat? Now, what I was going to mention too is a lot of people grab white to lighten colors, but it's actually not the best color always to use depending on what you're painting. But like with pumpkins or noses or carrots or squash, I actually add more yellow. So if you have orange like right out of the bottle, it's going to be like candy corn orange, and it's going to be like pretty deep. But if you don't like that orange, or it's not your like cup of tea and you like more of a squash natural looking one, all you have to do is grab yellow, and yellow will actually kind of add more sunshine to it and brighten it up, and you'll get a little bit closer to a normalish kind of carrot. But both oranges are fine. But if you don't like how dark your orange is, a quick tip, you can just add yellow to it and it'll make it look a little bit more like a squashish looking one instead. And so I would just fill in it completely. And I know you can't see that close because it's wet, so the light's reflecting, but when it's dry, you'll probably notice that there's still some little hints of the blue, but later on we'll fix that. Oh my gosh, now we're scratching our heads. Jermaine, it's not that serious. No. It was a carrot. No. No, we're not there yet.
Embracing the ugly. You gotta trust the process. You gotta go through the ugly phase.
There's steps. We're taking steps in the right direction.
And now I want to see your canvas.
Got people's curiosity up. But you're probably noticing that there is this deep blue, which I want a shadow underneath his neck, but not looking like he's decapitated. Like we don't want headless Nick look to it. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of white paint, a little bit. And if you put white over the light blue, it's going to lighten it substantially. So it still looks like there's a shadow where the head would be connected to the bottom snow piece, but not as blue to the point it matches your sky. So I'm going to use the same paintbrush again, just that round one. And the color I'm using, I'm going to use, this is really hard to show white, but I got white on my brush, and all I'm going to do is get my brush pretty damp. So make sure it's wet if you're doing this, because it'll glide a lot better. And I just take a little bit of white paint and I go over top that light blue to lighten it, so it doesn't match the sky. So as soon as it doesn't match the same color as your sky, you've got it. You want it to look like shadows on the snow, not like a cloud that's got a little bit of sky coming between it.
I was just saying I was captivated by you, Rosie. I'm just watching everyone and I can only see Christina and your portrait. So I'm like, this is very soothing for me as the watcher. A little creepy, but like soothing. Because I'm just staring at y'all.
I've known you for so long, it's not creepy.
I'm sure a lot of us are probably guilty. I told people before, they asked me, have you ever watched Bob Ross and learned anything? I was like, no, not really. I always watched him when I was sick on the couch because there was nothing else on TV, and he would put me to sleep almost as strong as NyQuil. And then where I'm going to put the star, it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to put it off to the side, and it doesn't even have to be the whole star if you don't want it to. You can actually let it fall off the bottom. But I'm just going to put a star right here. And I'm just doing the A method. So I went through and I have mine off to the side a little bit. And notice I made the shape first, and then I'm filling it in. So there's my little star. And then I probably don't have to walk you through the next few things that you could do. There's actually a lot of people just do swirls. If you're imagining a reef, you can pretty much guess everything else you can add around his neck. So I'm just going to do holly and some green leaves. So we can just use the red straight out the tube and the green straight out of the tube if you would like. I can show you how to do highlights on the leaves later, but I'm just going to use those ones straightforward. So I'm going to do the red first though, because red over green actually creates muddy looking brown. So that's why I recommend doing the red berries if you're going to add any first, because then you can do the leaves second. Because if you have brown tones in your leaves, that just makes them look more natural. So I'm going to show on my plate. I'm still using that round brush. I'm just cleaning it off very good with paper towels, and I'm just got my red out. So you just want to find your red. And so I got red, orange, and yellow is what I've been using. So I've been using the orange first, then we use the yellow for the star, and I'm using the red next. And you just want to paint little circles for the berries. So I'm going to trust you guys to do that step. I'm not going to say too much about circles. But there's also a trick for those that if you're doing really tiny berries, you can use the back of your brush as well. So you can actually use the back of a brush to do a circle, or you can use the front part of your brush. Both are round, so you can actually just tap circles in, or you can use your front part of your round brush. And I'll show that right now. So you can dip paint, if you can see that, on the back of a brush. And you can actually just dab it for snow or berries in this case, depending on what color. But you can actually just tap, and if you can see that, it just releases a regular circle. And I'll do it one more time on my plate so you can see it up close. If you use the back of a brush, you can get little circles. So hold tight. So with my light green, I'm just going to go ahead and put a leaf on this side. And I am using a small round brush just to draw them on. And using the lightest green first, so the mintiest one you have with the added white. Whether you use Viridian or an emerald green. So there's another leaf. And sometimes you can actually just do what they call little accent marks, where you just kind of leave the hint of green, and people will assume just based off a color choice what they're looking at. So also just adding little green, like little branches or a little smudge here and there that's also abstractly green will make somebody think you have leaves. I'm just going to use my little round brush since it feels like a pencil, and I'm going to show you 2 of my snowflakes, and then if you want to do one different, you can. The one that I'm going to do is just the X method. So just the way I did it when I was a kid. So the X method is literally drawing an X and then drawing one extra line to go through it. Those can be your smallest ones if you want to. However, right here, I'm going to put a dot because the biggest snowflake, I want that one in the middle for him to try to catch. So here comes X's, and I'm just doing X's right now for snowflakes. And then I just put a mark right down the middle to make them look like little stars, like those starry looking snowflakes. So that's an X, and then you just drag a straight line for the middle of it. And then for the big one, I'm just going to do that extra big for you to see. But again, I want to see your special snowflakes, so they definitely don't have to match mine. So I'm just going to do a big T shape for a minute. I'm just using my round brush. And you definitely use the smallest one in your kit. You can always make things bigger when you're painting. It's harder to make something smaller. So I definitely highly recommend just use the biggest one that you have. I'm going to do an X for the middle of my plus sign. And then I do the letter V's a lot. So X's and V's are part of my secret to my snowflakes. It's the same letters over and over again. So did a nice big plus sign. I did an X, did some V's along the stems. Just to make it look a little icy like frozen, and putting little extra little brush strokes in there. But there's a snowflake for him to catch in a minute. So I'm going to pause and let everyone put some snowflakes first in their background, so that way we can help him try to catch one. And you can put as many or as few as you like, or if you just want to do the big one in the middle, it'll still be pretty as long as he's got something to try and catch. And I just use white, so you don't have to use any extra colors or anything to pull it off. So real quick, if you use the back of the brush, and then remember to clean it so it doesn't touch my face, if you use just this part, the tip, you can actually dip right into the white paint, and it will allow you to do perfect circles. So I showed that earlier with the berries, that you can either draw them with the front of a brush, or you can use the back of your brush when you load it up with paint and can actually dot them. So if you use the back of your brush, you'll probably get lots of little snowballs falling from the sky. So you can actually go around and just do that method, and you can put as many as you like. That's the very calm approach. So I'm going to just do a few of these so you can see the difference. And I wouldn't put them too close to the snowman. The far away, the better, so that way the blue contrasts with the white snow, so that way you can actually see them popping up. Now, if you flick, I'm going to actually use another brush, not a round brush. I would use something flat. So the ones that are shaped like a rectangle or something will actually give you a better flick. So flats or anything shaped like a box. So anything like that, you can actually flick your finger better than on a round brush where you're not going to get as much. I'm going to use my handy dandy flat brush. And if you get it wet, this is the only thing you have to know about flicking with paint. It's just it has to have water in it or it won't release off the brush. So that's the only trick to it. So make sure you dip it and get it kind of like white out. So make sure there's no chunks. If there's chunks on your brush, that's what it's going to shoot. If the paint looks flat, like this, but watery, it'll flick off your brush and they'll have tiny little dots. So I'll show you that real quick. But if you want to have some fun with painting, I promise you, this is one of the things not to skip. It's like the most satisfying thing ever is splattering paint, pouring paint, water paint, balloons, all those are the fun parts. But again, make sure you have no chunks in the paint. So I'm making sure to add water to it first. And then when I look at my brush, make sure there's no chunky bits of paint. And if you have that set, if you hit your thumb towards the canvas just like this and you hit it with the brush, you'll get snow instantly, which might be hard to see for a second just due to my camera setup. But when it dries, you'll see lots and lots and lots of white dots everywhere. So making it look like it's snow falling. Happy, happy snow. And I think I got enough snow. I covered most of my background. Not many next to the shoulders. Up in the sky, definitely got some there. And you can just wash that brush off again because you probably won't need it one more time, not the background brush, but it is 10 times easier to use a flat brush to flick paint. Even toothbrushes are awesome to use.
So quickly, I know we're coming close to 7, so I don't know if anyone needs to hop off. No pressure if you do, but you can stay and keep painting with us. We'd love that. If you can't, no pressure. I will only ask you to show us a picture of your current snowman before you go.
I think I'm gonna hop up in a little bit, but this is how it looks so far. I did add some stuff. I have paint on my hands, on my desk, on my water bottle, so I think it's legit.
Thanks for sharing, Rosie.
Evidence of fun.
Exactly. What do they call it? Like happy accidents? That's what it is.
Happy accidents.
All right. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Rosie.
Bye.
Hop too, but here's mine.
That's adorable.
Oh my God, Ashley.
Yeah, it does not look like
your neck. The neck looks so good.
Thank you.
I'm jealous.
Really
I'm a little bit
good.
jealous.
Thanks so much, Tina. Thanks everybody.
Nice
No
meeting
worries.
you. Have a good holiday.
You too.
I might have to head off soon. I'm gonna stay for a few more minutes, but just so you guys can see that.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go ahead and draw me a hand. And again, you want to just dip into that water cup first and then load up. And then wherever your snowflake is, that's where you know you need to start your first branch. So don't worry about the extra branches. I'm just going to start with one on both sides. So I'm just going to drag that brush straight down. And it's gliding for me like melted butter. And you don't want to add too much pressure. The more pressure you add, the wider your brush strokes will be. So I'm just gliding straight down with little pressure. And I'm going to do that again and make sure it's nice and damp and loaded so it glides for you. But I'm going to put a branch here and I'm just going to drag it down. Not too special, again, just kind of straightish, but I am going right to my snowman, so it's touching. And once you have at least that 1, 2 reaching for it, then all you're going to do is imagine the letter Y or the letter V. And you just want to start adding like V branches and Y branches. So that would be a V. This one would be a Y if you do 2. So you got Ys and Vs. And just like on this, I'm going to do this again. And not too much pressure. You're going to notice that it gets thicker and thinner depending on how hard you're holding the brush against your canvas. So just hold it very lightly. Like don't like push up against it or anything. Even hold your elbow if you want. But you just want to add in some V's and some littler branches. They don't have to go all the way up to the same length as the first one. And another little step is, you can always make something bigger. You can't make something smaller. So if something seems like it's too small, try to look around it and see what you can make bigger instead of trying to make it look smaller. And you can always use light brown on top of your branch too, if you want to make it look a little bit more realistic. Branches catch snow or frost and things this time of year. So if you add little streaks of white or lighten your brown a little bit and go along the branch, it'll make it look more like he's in a wintertime scene. So I just have a little bit of white on my brush. And if you go along it, just doing little straight lines, it's going to give it some branch-like texture. And I'm still holding the same brush because I'm going to dot me on eyes now. And just for a kind of like a teaser, I'm going to use the back of my brush for my eyeballs, so you don't have to draw a circle if you don't want to. If you want bigger eyes, you might have to draw it, but you can actually use the back of your brush to help start your circles again. And then I'm just going to use the front part of my brush with black in order to get the mouth on. Now, what expression your snowman has is up to you. But MJ, you didn't tell us what you were ordering. Is it a mystery? Are we allowed to know what we got? Cajun chicken was on the menu tonight. We had a few other options as well.
Having sushi because I'm being bougie.
Uh-oh. That is some pinky in the airness right there. She's got sushi over there. But you can definitely use any of the techniques I've already shown. So you can dot with the back of your brush or with the front of your brush. Just know that dotting will definitely give you that smaller looking eye. And then I'm still using my little round brush, so I'm gonna stick a smile on it. So I'm probably gonna make the smile extra big for y'all. So you'll probably see that a mile away. And I'm hoping to, I always like to do my backgrounds first for everyone, so that way the painting's not like super damp for you to pick up and move to wherever you need to move it to. So your backgrounds, the blue part, has been drying for 40 minutes. So it can be completely picked up. You can definitely take the tape off of it. It should be dry enough to scoot off your table if you have to. So definitely don't feel as if you gotta probably heat that up or anything. You should be able to pick this piece up. Very chilled group. Feels very peaceful. It's very calm. It's nice.
I hope this was like a calming hour and a half, 2 hours for our teachers after being in, or like our folks in education, because not everyone here is in the classroom after what is a crazy month. So
you say that twice, say it twice. Crazy month. It's a crazy
month. This is great. This is super great. So thank you all for this.
Yay.
I needed this after this day.
It's my final. I gave him a scar.
My berries got a little bit out of control, but that's okay. They're just big, beautiful berries.
They're beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I did something completely different. That's okay.
Ooh.
Do my own thing.
I love
good
that.
though.
Oh
I just
my God,
wanted-
that is so cool.
Also did this one too with an ugly Christmas sweater. I just wanted to get y'all reactions. Y'all like, hold on. I thought we was doing.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with yours.
I was going for the code emoji. You guys know the code emoji? That's what I was going for, but it looks a little creepier than I wanted to.
I like your leaves, Emily.
Thank you. I like to like sketch leaves for some reason. So I'm like, oh, this is my time to shine. But it's my little petite, it's like a baby snowman.
It's acceptable. We'll accept it.
It's cute.
I'm really feeling the carrot.
It's
the carrot.
happy.
This was fun. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, Star.
This was good. I had fun.
Yay.
Yay,
Thanks,
goals
MJ.
accomplished.
Denise, are you brave enough to show us yours?
I am, but after looking at Shayna's star, I'm like, ooh, because usually, we have some competition, with stars and everything like that for paint night. So, all right. Well, I think I messed up on my eyes. I should have used the Sharpie, like she said. But
oh, that's cute.
I love the lips.
I don't want no pitiful things.
No, it looks like real coals. You know how to use the coals for that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Fill in the mouth too.
Oh
Mhm.
boy.
All right, there you go. So this is what I got so far.
Oh, Picasso.
Look at that solid background. That's why you're behind right there.
So hard to do the background. Like that's why I spent the most time on because before this it looked like you could see every stroke, like every brush stroke. So I was so like annoyed by it that I spent so much time just like painting layers and layers over it to cover up the.
It looked nice though. I think
Thank
everyone's
you.
sky came out completely different. I always like looking at the differences of what everyone focused on, and it's always something else, but it came out well.
Love it.
Yeah, I definitely like the darker blues. Those look nice.
Have to hop off. It was lovely seeing everyone's faces. Nicole and I will be in touch with more events. And if there's any event that you want us to host, tell us to do things. We got some money. We'll do it.
Yes. Thank you so much, y'all. Really appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank
Christina.
you.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, MJ.
Of
Great seeing
course.
y'all.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I'm just chilling in here and painting. That's what's happening.
Bye, Shayna.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks for
Shayna.
having
Thank
us, man.
I
you.
miss you, Shayna.
Miss you. Can't wait to see you.
Our only goal with Homegrown is to build community this year. We're like, that's it. That's all we're doing, building community. So this was absolutely perfect.
Well, you guys nailed it, I think, and it's good that like, a lot of people didn't give up, they just got more creative. As I told some students, I was just like, you either can say everything's over because we can't do the same, or you can get creative and take on that challenge. And you guys went far and beyond for your team. So I'm certain they appreciate
Love that.
And one thing I did, you can trace your star with a little bit of brown. That helps make the star pop a little bit, kind of gives a little bit of a shadow hint around the edges. And so you can just use your round brush again for that and just go around the edges of it and literally retrace your star and give it a little bit of a shadow on one side and make it pop off of his chest. Something else that I like to do is the same colors. Orange and brown can actually be used on the nose to make it look a little bit more textured. So I'm going to load that up on my brush, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown. You just want to mix those up a little bit and make sure your brush is damp when you do this step, so that way it glides off your brush like melted butter. And there you go. And you can even use some of those warm tones on the branches as well. I think it warms it up just a little bit if you don't like the temperature it's putting off. I like a little bit of cold, but he must be really happy trying to get that snowflake. So we'll give him a little bit of warmth to have too. And so now you got some ridges, and it's just like flipping the letter C on its back. So just draw the letter C on its side and it'll give it a little bit of a carroty look. And whether it has texture or no texture is a personal preference. So whatever you think looks good will be absolutely fine on this piece. Just make yourself happy while you're painting. And if it looks good, it looks good. And I'm going to leave it be. So if you got some frost, whether you did white or a light brown, you can use just a little bit of white. It makes it look like snow fell at some point onto his arms. So you can just do a little bit of like white, like little straight lines to make it look like there's a little bit of frost. Even make some frost on his nose if you wanted to as soon as it dries. So it's still wet, give it a second. We can put some frost on his nose as well, a little bit of frostbite for him. And then he's got his mouth open and he already softened probably the nose and things. Keep in mind, if you ever want to redo something, if you paint over it with the color that's behind it and let it dry, you can repaint that section entirely. White's kind of like a masking color. So if you use white over top black even and let it dry and do white again, you can start from fresh. Something else to do is the leaves. Leaves, you can actually have more than one color. So if you like them the way they are, it's good. But if you want to add a little extra to them, just a pinch of a secondary color gives it some dimension. So you can actually go on top of your leaves and either outline them like the star, or even do a few shadow marks, which can be little straight lines in the middle of your leaves, like you're tracing out the veins, will add a little something extra. Looking at photos on Google or Pinterest or anywhere else is also a really good tech tip to take. References are really helpful. So if you don't know what something looks like, pause and break out the phones for a moment just to see what you need to look at. Something else you can do is you can also decorate around these leaves. And so in a moment so something else I'm going to do is add some swirls around the neckline just to make it look a little bit more festive. And so just make sure your brush is always damp when you're about to draw something, so that way the brush glides and it doesn't just kind of hit a lot of snags when it's drier. But I'm going to just add some fun swirls. So just the normal, regular kind you've been doing for years. And you add as few or as many as you like, just as a nice little decorative extra tone. That's all I'm really going to add that's a little bit extra for this little guy. You really